as coach during a Lakers-Celtics matchup. What, if anything, do you kind of take into that as you're also just building the typical game plan you would to face them?
Yeah, I think there's always moments during a season that you, I think, look forward to. It's not the preparation approach mentality. None of that changes. I think it's more just the feeling of gratitude. That you get to participate in this rivalry, which is goes back a long, long time, and you get to be part of this current generation of players and coaches. I don't take it lightly.
Some obvious differences with the teams, just Boston's going to take and make more threes, that you score more in the paint. Are there a couple of margin areas where you feel like, okay, you have to do these things to compete against this Boston team?
Yeah, I think we're 14-4 when we have more scoring opportunities, and we're 6-0 when we have 5 or more scoring opportunities, and the record is the record when we don't, and they're really good. I think they're going to get up threes, and we have to be willing to live with some stuff tonight. If we try to take away everything, we're going to give up everything. I think the end of quarter stuff we have to execute well. They're really good at that, and we have to take care of the basketball, and we have to keep them off the offensive glass, and just be particularly cognizant with as many threes as they shoot. Their guards do a really good job. Pritchard, Holiday, White, of crashing, and they allow those guys. They don't just crash through the elbows. They're crashing, and they're really going after it. So that stuff. If we can be even, if we can win that, it helps our case.
JJ, you've been open about your friendship with Joe through the last several years. What's it going to be like coaching against him tonight, and just the chess match between you two?
He's a really, I would describe him as a really good friend. I've gotten to know him, I guess it's been about 2.5 years now, and he said something about he wasn't going to talk to Charles when they played the Hornets, because he doesn't talk to opposing coaches. He was nice enough to reach out over the last in the last 2 weeks with everything going on here, and we spoke. You kind of look at it every game. Who are we playing, and then who the other coaches, and kind of what they try to do and where they try to exploit things, and they're really good at figuring out where the weak link is, and just doing that over and over and over again. We're going to have to be prepared not only to guard the first action, but then to guard the ISO, and it's going to come in a number of ways, and we have to be good with that. And then we're expecting cross matches. They typically let Drew kind of roam, who's Porzingis going to guard, and I didn't think when Houston cross matched, we didn't do a good job of recognizing that early in the game, and hopefully we're prepared for that tonight, because they're going to do it at some point.
JJ, kind of a two-part question. You're not a stranger to big rivalries, right? Like Duke Carolina is like one of the tentpole rivalries in basketball, but I'm curious, kind of looking back on your experiences being part of that, what you enjoyed most of being in something that was so fueled by hate, for lack of a better like fun word. And then secondly, when you got this job, how did you immerse yourself into Lakers-Celtics? Like, were there anything that you consumed? I know you mentioned at one point you'd watched Genie's documentary. There's a lot of Celtic stuff in there. Were there other things that you kind of took in that helped you be prepared to hate a new opponent?
I mean, you still have to coach your basketball game, and every team is different. I don't think there's anything else that I did differently in terms of the rivalry. And really taken aback by your question. What was the first part of that question?
Duke Carolina.
Oh, Duke Carolina.
Yeah.
What did I enjoy the most? The easy answer is winning a couple times in the Dean Dome. They also beat us in Cameron my senior year. So I think it was just about participating in that and getting a sense of, particularly growing up in ACC country, watching those games growing up, having a real vested interest in it because I was a Duke fan, and then kind of pinch yourself, holy, this is actually happening to me, and I'm getting to be a part of this. That was really cool for me. And look, I think there's, like I said, there's a number of pinch yourself moments throughout an NBA season. You know, I'm approach and all that stuff doesn't change game to game, but you got to live in the moment a little bit.
Hey JJ, how you doing? I was going to ask about Joe too. How did you meet him for the first time, and how did some of the conversations, I know you did the podcast with him, and just, you know, talking basketball help prepare you for the role you're in now?
Yeah, I would say I met him at Old Sandwich, which is a golf club. I happened to be in Boston, pre-planned trip for a buddy's birthday party. He's actually here tonight. He came out for the game for Boston. And Joe got the job on Friday, and we played golf Sunday morning. And we talked about, you know, potentially joining the Celtics staff. And it was something that was those early stages of really knowing I wanted to coach, but not sure what the timing would look like. And we stayed in touch. There was another sort of conversation around joining the staff later. And then the last 2 years, podcast included, and calling games and getting to see them. But particularly last year, we talked quite a bit on text, you know, after games, whatnot. And when I was going through this process, he, along with a few other coaches in the NBA, were really helpful, not just in preparing for an interview, but just really helping me understand what this was and what it required.
You mentioned the offensive rebound and the importance of that, and just creating extra possessions. That seems to have gone down as the season. Or you guys had a nice start, and it seems to go down from there. Just, is that something that you feel like this team can still be good at, even at the midway point where it seems like you guys, I guess, are regressing in that sense?
Yeah, you know, I think Rui and Doe, their crash rates are the highest outside of the bigs. So those guys have been good. It's interesting because we just did an analytics meeting. Our crash rate actually is going up. It's going up from the beginning of the year. We're just not getting offensive rebounds. So, and our transition defense is getting better. And we thought there would be a correlation between, we're not crashing more. We're actually crashing more. We're just not getting offensive rebounds.
JJ, because it's defending champs, one of the elite teams, do you look at games like this any differently just to assess where you guys are?
I assess where we're at every day, to be honest with you. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to change. You know, every game is important. Every game is important, particularly this season. There are teams that have already separated themselves halfway through the season, and then there's a lot of teams in both conferences that are right there. And you know, every game is super important. And I don't think our group, I don't think I am going into this game saying this is a measuring stick game for us, because we're going to have a bunch of measuring stick games coming up. I mean, that's just the NBA right now.
JJ, LeBron was named an All-Star starter, 21st record-setting appearance. I know you've talked about his accolades constantly throughout the season, but just what does that mean in the context of his career, and just what have you made of the first half of the year?
Yeah, this is not me throwing shade at anybody, but there are, in the history of the NBA, there's a lot of popular players that at the end or in certain seasons, we've seen it, you know, because of the way the fan vote worked for a long time, that they get an all-star nod, and they were playing good, but you know, LeBron is still playing at an elite level, and I think that's he's deserving, very deserving of this all-star nomination. I'll be sure to congratulate him, but again, just another accolade and another accomplishment for him to add to the list of what seems like thousands.
Last one.
Coach, you speak of Joe and your friendship highly. Is there a part of you that wants this game more than usual?
I want every game, to be honest with you. I want every game. Sure, it'd be great to beat the Celtics. You know, shoot Joe a text after the game and call him a mother effer or anything like that. Every game is really important for us right now, and every game's, in some ways important for me, for my own sanity.
Thanks, Bob.